Thank you, Mark. Jeff Valens. Go ahead, Ryan.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Ryan Tarvis. I'm an owner of Spirit Rock Climbing Center and the Fulfill building. So I've been helping Mark with starting to develop an interest in an economic study to examine what the actual facts are because of possible destruction that would happen because of this proposal. It seems to me that this situation is a perfect example of the blind leading the naked. We asked Scott Somerville, the city CAO, if there was a financial impact study, whether public or internal, on this proposal for rezoning. His entire response was this: no such financial impact study exists. So that's the blind part. There's no facts. There's just conjecture and opinion. The naked part is us Kimberley business owners, because we're the ones who are horribly exposed to the consequences of this ill-considered proposal. The politicians promoting this proposal tell us businesses that we'll just have to compete. So if I could quote something from the film Shrek, as Lord Farquaad said, just before he sends his army into war, some of you may die, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. So, North America is full of towns that have gone down this route. So the ramifications to our business and cultural community are quite predictable. This is why we need a financial impact assessment into this matter. On the City of Kimberley's website, it proudly displays that we're BC's best small town, and it's the Platzl on the front page. Clearly, we're doing a number of things right. Maybe the Economic Development Group, led by the mayor, could be looking for opportunities to develop downtown rather than a corporate car-focused strip mall on the edge of town. I mean, back in '66, before my time a bit, but Cranbrook started this process when they took out their downtown park, their Cenotaph Historic District, and they built a car-centric Cranbrook Mall at the end of Baker Street. Then they make the Cranbrook Strip, and they've been struggling to revitalize their downtown ever since. So that's a problem with putting cars over people. And we've heard about the health and vibrancy of the Platzl. It's a virtuous circle. One business helps another. It's a beautiful thing. The diversity in the Platzl is part of its appeal. We're the only climbing gym I know of that's most profitable in the summer months, and that's entirely because of the success and the family nature of the enterprises there. Even the Lordco store is very happy to be there rather than a car-centered location, if you actually talk to them, because then they know if they were down in the industrial park, people would just keep going to Cranbrook. So it would be great if some of the politicians who are supporting this could start listening to Kimberley businesses for what they actually need to succeed. I'm in favor of respecting Kimberley's official community plan and the professionals behind it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan. Richard Maslin. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the opportunity to speak. And thank you to the proponent for being here as well. I'm glad we live in a community where we can still have healthy debate and facilitative dialogue. In my job as a professor and Canada Research Chair in Health Promotion and Chronic Disease Management, I'm well versed in the scientific research from the past several decades linking fast food and, more precisely, ultra-processed foods with many chronic diseases. The presence of fast food outlets also impacts the larger community. Empirical research has found communities in close proximity to fast food outlets have higher body weights and even a greater prevalence of depression. I've offered to share this research with council, but I'm not here to be the food police. I agree that people are allowed to make their own choices. The issue here has more to do with what we want our city to become. Kimberley has managed to remain a unique destination, the best small town in BC. We have focused on locally owned establishments, and Kimberley thrives on that. But rezoning this land and allowing a fast food giant to establish a presence, as one of the previous speakers said, creates a slippery slope. If we allow one fast food outlet, why not a Burger King, and then a Wendy's, and then a Taco Time? I suspect the millions in permit fees could be quite addicting. Each McDonald's, in my research, shows that they bring in roughly $2 million a year. That's $2 million that's being taken away from our local businesses, such as the Timber Hitch, the Coffee Can. The proponents' proposal to council placated us with talk about high-paying and well-paying jobs for locals, but McDonald's doesn't even pay a living wage, which last I checked in Cranbrook was $22 an hour. But I'm reading lately that McDonald's is opening stores that are entirely automated, and there's a push for that. They have no staff at all. So perhaps there will be no employment advantages for those in Kimberley looking to work in McDonald's. Any argument by the proponent about providing good-paying jobs to locals is simply false. How many of us have gone through Fernie or Invermere in the last couple of years only to find at the Tim Hortons that they're closed? Let's not fool ourselves. It's not a coincidence that this proposal is very close to an elementary school, sports fields, a future international school, and it's in an area of town populated by largely young families and a lot of kids. Given the international school, wouldn't a market where you can get some healthier, fresh foods make more sense? If we're going to convert this land to commercial, let's do something that makes a little bit more sense. The report from the city planner recommended council reject the proposal, and we need to listen to the experts. Several communities are starting to pass bylaws which limit drive-thrus and fast foods. Nelson is one of them. Kimberley, we need to be taking the lead on this issue, and I wish we were here discussing more innovative and bylaws that can advance our community and make us more healthy. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Richard. All right, thank you, Jeff. Sorry. John Allen. Go ahead, Richard.
My name is Richard Maslin. I'm a retired social worker, and I just moved to Kimberley 1 year ago, and I love this place, you know. And thank you to the mayor and the council for letting me speak. Let's be clear, this is not about McDonald's so much. It's about changing industrial to commercial. If we make this change, I think, in my opinion, it's a big mistake. Once this change is made, whoever purchases property can do whatever they want with it. It doesn't matter whether it's McDonald's or Tim Hortons or Burger King. It really is all the same. These kind of businesses have two things in common. They produce garbage and literature, and garbage and litter. And these businesses create low-paying jobs, often part-time, and virtually no benefits. These are not the kind of jobs that will help a young family buy their first home. As a town, we need to generate more tax dollars. That's a given. But changing the zoning laws is the easy way out. We need to attract, through incentives, more light industries and to come to Marysville. Just move, it's taken, pardon me, I had a stroke, so I can't always get my thoughts across here. So we need to, through incentives, encourage light industry to move to Marysville. We don't need another gas station. We have 5 of them already. We don't need another car wash. We got several of those already. And charging stations, that's a great idea, but they don't need to be attached to a gas station. They can be built anywhere. And that's all I've got to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. Patty Kolesnichenko.
Hi, I'm John Allen. I live at 430 Wallinger. First impressions matter. Appearances matter. Aesthetics matter. The present proposal to rezone an area at the main entrance to Marysville and Kimberley should obviously be reconsidered. There have been many social media posts and a number of well-stated letters to the editor opposing the rezoning for a variety of reasons. Mayor Don stated at a previous public meeting about a month ago, I think, that he didn't value these. Councillor Sandra told me that over 200 letters have been sent to council as of a couple of weeks ago, but that was such a small number that they did not represent the community's views. My response, that is a very large number, considering that over and over, when the people of this community voice their views, they are dismissed and ignored. Please, council, wake up to the fact that many of the people who elected you are not in favor of this proposal. We have an opportunity here, an opportunity to consider and create an attractive entrance to BC's best small town. Our town's image will not be well portrayed by the large signage, bright lights, and traffic issues of another large American-owned burger joint, which we do not need, and a gas station, which we do not need, at our main arrival point. No doubt this rezoning would quite easily allow similar other garish businesses to follow. Yes, let's change the zoning. Then let's ask our planning department to consider and advise what uses will reflect this beautiful community. Then let's create a special zone to enable the types of uses which will provide a pleasant and welcoming entrance to our community. First impressions matter. Appearances matter. Aesthetics matter. Thank you all.
Thank you, John. David, Paul? Go ahead, Patty.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Patty Kolesnichenko, and I live in Marysville. And I've been living here for 14 years, and I'm very honored to be an environmental educator here, where I've had the pleasure to teach many of possibly the audience here, their children. And that's why I don't actually support this zoning change. And my reasons are essentially, they've been voiced so beautifully on why, and I agree with those. And I'm gonna join my friend Kathy on her focus on water. And so I spend a lot of time around water. I teach kids about water. And we spend a lot of time on Mark Creek. And over the last 12 years, I've seen a big change. I'm not gonna say it scientifically, but spending with thousands of kids on the creek, I have seen a dramatic change in the quantity of water on our creek, and I'm sure many of you have seen that because of climate change. And less than 1% of the water on our planet is actually available for us to be drinking. And so I'm gonna really focus on that. I've noticed a difference of the amount of water that's available here in Kimberley, and with that in mind, I'm concerned. I'm concerned about a business, or any business that comes in and consumes large amounts of water that isn't monitored, and also consumes and has a lot of wastewater. Car washes produce a lot of wastewater, in particular, what Paul mentioned as well, wastewater going down our storm drains, but also those emissions at the gas station. And what goes up comes down, and that goes into our water, and it goes into Mark Creek, which is untreated when it goes through storm drains, and that goes down to our neighbors at Akam, the First Nations that's down the creek to us, and they have to deal with that as well. So I ask the council and mayor that please consider water, because water is life. And we need to think about the quantity, the availability of that water, and it changes. And we're seeing dramatic changes, so we need to think about that when we're making these decisions. So thank you.
Thank you, Patty. Gary Tipper? Go ahead, David.
Good evening. My name is David Paul. I live in Kimberley up on 5th. I just moved here just over a year ago, and I'm mildly impressed with the volume of activity in this town. Like, it's kind of a hotbed for people cycling, running, walking, commuting on foot to go downtown, which is, you don't see that in other towns, not as commonly anyways, which is really impressive. I think some of the attributes that our town has is going to be degraded by this upgrade, or this proposed upgrade of that land. And some of the attributes I'm thinking about are safe mobility without heavy automotive congestion, fresh air with lower levels of smog, lower noise pollution that occurs with stop and start traffic. All this will be gone if there's a big proposal in that area. So with the close proximity of the elementary school and rails to trails, there's an uncomfortable degree of risk associated with this location. I don't know if it's worth that risk, to tell you the truth. It's dubious on how much McDonald's and another gas station will contribute to the town, but I feel that the qualities that have drawn so many people here post Sullivan mine closure will not be enhanced by this project. So thank you for your time, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, David. Chad Wilkinson, Go ahead, Gary.
Thank you. I spent my career as a resource scientist, and so this evening's presentation to you, Mayor and Council, and all you folks who chose to attend tonight, and hair on you for doing so, is totally different from being a scientist. This is me speaking from my gut. And what I want to say is brief. I think that the pursuit of the holy grail of increasing our tax base is losing sight of the soul of the community. And I think that we need to step back and say what we want to do with our OCP is try and rejig the new one and not change the current one, so that we can look at things that maintain the soul of what we have. Because to me, Kimberley is in fact unique. There's been a lot of references to that tonight. And I think that we have to work hard to maintain that uniqueness. And by the way, I understand we spend a lot of money. I spend a lot of money myself paying taxes to the city for the services I receive. And I'm happy to continue paying the level of taxes that I do pay if we maintain the OCP as such and don't change this and don't allow this new development. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Chad Wilkinson. Katie Birdsell. And Andy Miller would be next.
A lot of people here. It's pretty nerve-wracking.
Go ahead, Katie.
First off, this is amazing. Listening to all these like super intelligent people come in here and share their opinions is like the reason that I love Kimberley and will never leave. It's like spectacular. Like I'm almost in tears listening to all these people who love this town so much. But I'll go to my written letter because my voice is shaky and I'm nervous, and it's all been said before, but I'll say it again. I've written a few letters to council and I've spoken in depth to a few of you. And my takeaway continues to be the same. This is a square peg, round hole situation. It doesn't fit. Experts have been asked for their opinions, our city planners, an environmental health officer, numerous medical doctors, and they all come back with the same sentiment. This is not the location for a development like this. Concerns about contaminating water and soil, concerns about squandering industrial land that's vital to the long-term well-being of our community, concerns about staffing and pollution and roadways and health consequences and impact on local businesses and. Experts have been asked to provide council with information to guide their decision-making, and that's exactly what they've done. And so to ignore those recommendations seems unwise, and to take a line from a previous speaker, absolutely bananas. Kimberley is a special place, and I'm so grateful that this town received my business, Grow Cake and Chocolate. I'm sure I've made some of your birthday cakes. Received my business and my family with open arms and an open heart. I fully believe in growth and progress, and that this city can adapt with the changing times without losing its uniqueness and its charm. I don't think a McDonald's or a 17th gas station or a 30-second car wash is gonna ruin Kimberley, because I think we're better than that. But I do think that we have an obligation to the city and to our children and to the land that we're lucky enough to be living on to step wisely as we move into the future. We're being told by people much smarter than me, and I imagine, with a better information base than some of you up on stage, that this is an unwise step and we need to listen to them. I don't envy your position. This must be, I'm sure that there's a lot of pressure on you right now, but I hope that you all feel that pressure. It's an important decision for the future of Kimberley, and we're relying on you to read the reports and listen to the experts and to make decisions that it's going to help Kimberley remain one of the best places to live. I lived in Fort St. John, I lived in Abbotsford on the coast. Kimberley is a gem, and we need to keep it a gem. It's a magical place to be. So it's a no from me, and a hard no, and I'll keep sending letters and bothering the mayor and harassing all of you in public for as long as I physically can. So thanks for letting me speak tonight, and I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. So just before you start, Andy, Chad Wilkinson, last call. Chad? Okay, if I could have Tim Park to the other microphone, please. Go ahead, Andy.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, for this opportunity. And thank you to the councillors who've connected with me personally prior to tonight. My name's Andy Miller. I live in Townsite. We moved to Kimberley in 2007, so I consider myself some 30 years shy of being considered a local. I'm against this proposal for many reasons. I'm particularly concerned that we will significantly damage the mix of viable industrial and commercial lands that most commentators accept is an essential part of a viable, sustainable 21st century Canadian community. But I also concur with those that say this potential change significantly departs from our OCP, and it damages and gives unfair advantage away from the existing businesses who have long demonstrated a commitment to Kimberley. It moves us towards a more homogenous municipality, one that eventually will drive out the unique stores and services of our town, the difference that out-of-towners currently come out of their way to experience. We've heard tonight there are a host of other reasons to oppose this proposal as well. I'd like to focus my comments, however, on an issue which I've become more aware of as this debate has gone on, and that is of the concept of the silent majority. It's a concept that I think is really dangerous and one that is seemingly creeping into this debate. It's an idea that relegates those of us that are engaging in the debate to a noisy minority and states that the rest of the community is comfortable with and even for these proposed changes. Democracy requires participation. Participation means voting, but it also means writing letters, talking to councillors, attending public meetings. It means learning about issues and making informed decisions and communicating these to you, our representatives. Some people don't care enough about these issues to do this, and that's their prerogative. But leaders must never assume that apathy and silence means support for an agenda. For me, Council has a duty to listen to city staff, to business leaders, to healthcare providers, and the community members that have made the effort to participate, and base your decisions on what you hear, not the silence. I recently asked what might change the mind of one councillor who, as we chatted, seemed to have more of a fixed position than I expected. And they replied that they would listen to the community. I trust that you will all hold that position of listening to the weight of the community opinion when considering this significant proposal.
Thank you, Andy. Gary Edmondson. Go ahead, Tim.
Thanks. I appreciate you all being here, and I'm honored to be here, so thank you very much. To begin with, if this was sold as a really, really good idea,